There are two methods for factoring trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. The first one is called the guess and check method. So this is what you're going to do. We're going to find factors for the coefficient of the x squared term and for the coefficient of the constant term. Set up in parentheses, check inside and outside terms to see if they add up to the middle term. If the terms of the trinomial have no common factor other than 1, then the same is true for the binomial factors, and this eliminates some guessing. This section takes practice and patience to do well, so don't give up, all right? We're going to do two methods, this one and the grouping method. So for this first one, we kind of do like a little dead giveaway, just so that kind of gets you all like warmed up. So first thing I check to see if there's any common factors in there or not. And then I look at this sign at the end of this. It means that they're both the same sign and they're going to be negative. So I have to look at the factors of 24. And in this case, I'm given one of the terms, so the other one's got to be 8x. 3x times 8x is 24x squared. And now, well, I'm given this negative 5. Negative 5 times a negative 3 is a positive 15. But let's check to make sure the middle term is okay. And so we'll do the cradle, you guys. So this will be a negative 40x. And the outside's a negative 9x. Ooh, negative 49x. Yay! Check. So it'd be nice if we were just given that first factor all the time and we didn't have to come up with anything on our own, but it's the case, as in these next ones. So what we're going to do, for me, it's easiest to determine what the signs are going to be first. Everything's positive, so I know that both of these are going to be positive. Then I look at 3x squared. Well, the number 3 can only be broken down into 3 times 1. And x squared, you must tag him right along. Now look at this ending guy. The ending guy is 2y squared. And the middle guy is 7xy. And you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get an xy in there? And I'll show you what happens. If we break this 2 down into 2y and another y here, we will get 2y times y is 2y squared. But look at what happens in my middle. I have to check to see if I'm right. 2y times 1x is 2xy. See how that xy comes into play? And then y times 3x is 3xy. So I add them together and I get 5xy, and I realize, no, I didn't factor it right. So I take my eraser out and I erase. Okay, I'm going to leave the 3x and the 1x, and now I'm just going to try this. I'm going to put the y here and the 2y here to see what happens, if it beefed it up at all. And sure enough, I'll get xy in the middle, and then outside will be 6xy for a total of 7xy. Beautiful. So my final answer is 3x plus y, x plus 2y, and I'm done. Now let's look at the next one. Okay, so I take a deep breath, and I say to myself, okay, this second sign is negative, right? So I'm going to have opposite signs. And I'm going to like totally put in 5m and m. Now the only factors I can put in here are 1 and 1. And so I just have to worry about whether I have things all mishmashed or not. So what do? Answer the cradle. This is 1m, negative 5m. Oh, I added, I'll get negative 4m. Yay, I got it right on the first time. So the answer is 5m plus 1, m minus 1. So on my guess and check, I'm doing pretty good guessing. Okay, let's do the next one. I say to myself before I start writing anything down, this second sign is negative, so I'm going to have opposite signs here. Now 5 only has factors of 5 and 1, so 5p, 1p, or just write your p. And 2 only has factors of 2 times 1, so I'm going to put a 2 here and a 1 here and see what happens. So I go fa-doopy-doop, that's just 2p. Outside will be a negative 5p. Does that add up to negative 9p? No way, Jose. So we erase. And I'm just going to see what happens if I reverse. Put the 1 here and the 2 here. And you might see what happens. 1 times p is 1p. The outside will be, negative 10p. Yeah, I get a negative 9p. I did it. So 5p plus 1 and p take away 2 is my final answer. Let's do some more. All right. For this next one, notice how the directions are. I factor out a common factor first and then factor the remaining trinomial if you can. So for this first one, it's written in descending degree order. I'm all psyched about that. The numbers in front can't have anything but a 1 factored out, but I do have a common x, so I'll pull that out. And again, this is your two-step, you guys. Okay, then I don't panic. I bring my x down, and then I say, this second sign is negative, which means I'm going to have different signs. Now, see how this is a 4x squared? And all the other ones we've been doing, there was only like one choice. But here there's lots of choices. So the first thing I suggest is go for the most broken down thing first. So I'm going to do 2x, 2x. And we're kind of lucky here that the 3 only has like a couple of choices. 3 times 1, 1 times 3. I'm going to put that guy here and this guy here. And then I'm going to see what happens. And what do I just check? My cradle. Because all the other stuff should be okay. 2x, negative 6x. I add them up, I get negative 4x. I'm psyched. I got it right on the first time. So the final answer is this. Notice I could have chosen 4 and 1 for this guy, right? But you want to go first to the most broken down. Nice. Now look at this next thing. It looks completely overwhelming, but it isn't that bad, she says, right? So I can factor out a common factor of 2. I can also factor out, I can't factor out an a, but I can factor out a single b. So again, the two-step, write down what's left over. 6a squared minus 17ab plus 7b squared. Perfect. Now, we do this. Okay, and we look at this sign. It's plus. So we know that both signs are the same and they must be negative. Good? Now I'm psyched, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got the AB in there. AB is never going to be in the factors. They're going to be able to get there when you re-multiply, so don't panic. Now 6 has more factors than 6 and 1, so I'm going to do 3a, 2a. And again, I'm just guessing. And 7, the beauty of 7 is that I only have 7 and I need a b and a 1b. And now we'll see what we do. And I'm just writing stuff. If I get it on the first try, fantastic-reno, but, you know. Negative 7 times 2 will be a negative 14ab. See how the ab comes in? And then the outside, 1 times 3 is a negative 3ab. So we end up with negative 17ab. I did it. I can't believe I'm guessing right on the first try. You're like, this is totally rigged. It isn't. I'm just having a great day. There's my final answer. Notice how I didn't write the 1 in front of that second B, and that's okay. It's actually what when I don't write a 1 in front? More sophisticated. There's my sophisticated guy coming into play here. All right, now let's do the grouping method. And I'm just going to dive in and do it. All right. This method takes longer, but for some people it's more structured, and so you feel more comfortable. Okay, so we're doing the exact same thing as we just did, only using a different method instead of the guess and check. And you say, well, do I have to use the grouping method? And the answer is no. But I feel I must introduce it so that you will be able to decide for yourself which one you like better. Here we go. So the first thing is make sure that there's no common factors, and in this case, there's none. So now we're going to multiply the outer and the first term together, just the numbers, taking into account the signs. So when I do 20 times 3, I get 60. Cool? Now, what I'm going to do is think of the factors of 60 that add up to negative 61. And that's going to be negative 60 times and negative 1. That'll give me negative 61. I got that right away. This is just a listing, so if you need it. Cool? So now what we're going to do is write 20x squared and write in negative 60x, negative 1x, plus 3. Now you're like, what? Well, this part right here gives you negative 61x. All right, and now we're going to factor by grouping. When we do that, I can pull out a 20 and an x, and I'm left with x take away 3. For this next one, you're like, it doesn't have anything in common. So you're just going to pull out a negative 1. So negative 1, x, working on this guy now, take away 3. Perfect. Erase that. Okay, now they have x minus 3 in common. We're going to pull him out. He's gone. He's gone. 20x take away 1. Done. Cool? You like that one? Again, we're going to do factoring by grouping. So we're going to multiply 3 times 2 is 6. And I want the factors of 6, which would be 1 times 6, 2 times 3. Figure out what their sum is. Ooh, 7 is what I need in the middle. So how am I going to write this? 3x squared plus 1xy plus 6xy plus 2y squared. See how this, guys, add up to him, and it's just a rewrite. Now let's factor by grouping. Yeah, let's. For this first one, I just pull out an x, and I'm left with 3x plus y. For this second one, I pull out a 2 and a y, and I'm left with 3x plus y. If all is right with the world, you guys, these guys should be the same if you did it right. So this would be 3x plus y. He's gone, he's gone. He's left with x plus 2y, right? He's gone to the front. Next one. Now we just multiply these together and we get -5 this time. We want the factors of -5 that add up to -4. Well, -5 and a +1. So how are we going to break it down? Minus 5m plus 1m minus 1. Notice how this guy is really him. Then we continue by factoring by grouping. I'm going to pull a 5m out, and I'm left with m, take away 1. Good. Now look at, I have an m take away 1 right here, so I'm just going to pull out a 1. Cool? So we get m minus 1, he's gone, 5m plus 1. Done. A couple more using this method. Again, we are multiplying 12 times 2 is 24. So I need the factors of 24 that add up to 11. And you're going to tell me 8 and 3. Perfect. So this will be 2x squared plus 8x plus 3x plus 12. Factor by grouping. Pull out a 2x, I'm left with x plus 4. Pull out a 3, I'm left with x plus 4. Perfect. X plus 4 comes out in front. I'm left with 2x plus 3. Done. Now let's try the next one. We're going to multiply -12 times 2, which gives me a -24, and I need it to add up to -5. And that includes like putting positives and negatives in. Ooh, we need -8 and 3. So 2y squared minus 8y plus 3y. Notice how these guys become that when you combine like terms. Okay, but don't go and combine like terms because you'll just undo what you just did. Now factoring by grouping. 2y, I'm left with y, take away 4. Pulling out a 3, I'm left with y, take away 4. Look at us, we're just rocking and rolling. Y minus 4, he's gone, 2y plus 3. Okay, last but not least, let's first factor out the greatest common factor and then factor by grouping. So I'm going to pull out an x. And again, two-step, you guys, like a dance. This is a two-step problem. 4x squared minus 4x minus 3. That's what's left over. So then I say to myself, oh, I'm going to factor by grouping here. So I'm going to write -12. I need the factors of -12 that add up to -4. So I think about it. Ooh, let's do -6 and 2. So I leave the x and make a big fat thing right there. So you get 4x squared minus 6x plus 2x, take away 3. Factor by grouping. If I do that, I'm going to factor out a 2x, and I'm left with 2x minus 3. And you're like, oh my gosh, there's nothing in common. Pull out a 1. 2x, take away 3. And leave the x in front. This guy goes next. Then he's gone. 2x plus 1. Now here's the deal. Like I said, at some point, somewhere, you can rewrite this in any order. So in other words, x times 2x plus 1, 2x minus 3, same thing. And when you find these two factors that add up to that term, it doesn't matter where you put them, so which is kind of nice. So now you're going to be able to factor trinomials. Any factorable trinomial somebody can throw at you with the x squared in it as the final result, you'll be able to factor. Go for it. Ask lots of questions if you need to.